We're back. That's right. Round 2 Wrestling is back. Thank you for tuning into this brand new episode here on the 26th of July, 2022. I am SlimmDa KID, and this is your one-stop shop for everything pro wrestling. We have rumors to talk about. We have news to go over. We have results from the pay-per-view that took place this past weekend, and a brand new Did You Know section at the end of our show, which is filled with little bits of information and facts about the pro wrestling world that you may or may not have known about. So let's put our ears to the wall and listen to the rumors in the rumor mill. Fightful Select reports Kenny Omega is nearing a return and could be back for AEW's next pay-per-view, All Out. According to WrestleVotes, there are some in WWE who really, quote, don't like the SummerSlam card, end quote. Brandon Thurston of WrestleNomics said WWE shop is officially run by Fanatics, a deal made earlier this year. We did make a report on this a few weeks ago, maybe even a month ago, when this particular news did drop. Not entirely sure if WWE shop or Shop WWE is still up and running on the web, but eventually here that will no longer be an option to get your official WWE merchandise. You will have to go through Fanatics. We will keep you up to date on that as much as possible in case anything changes, but it doesn't look like anything's going to be changing anytime soon. Andrew Zarian reported SummerSlam had a TV-14 rating on Peacock, but has since switched to TV PG. This is an ongoing battle debate across the wrestling world. Will WWE finally drop its PG rating and move to a TV-14 rating, much like it had in the Attitude Era days? Or is it going to stay family-friendly? A lot of back and forth on this. Nobody seems to have the right answer, and if you have the right answer, you're probably wrong. Fightful was told former NXT wrestler Cole Two Dimes Carter is now under an AEW contract. Wrestling Observer Radio's Dave Meltzer indicates AEW is planning for Omega, Danielson, and Punk to return for All Out in September. If you have been sleeping under a rock or do not follow AEW, they have been hit incredibly hard by the injury bug since their last 2 pay-per-views that took place earlier this summer. We are just now getting reports that Kenny Omega will be back. He's been gone since late last year. And Danielson will be back tomorrow night, so be sure to tune in to Dynamite for his return match after his injury. And CM Punk, the last I heard about him is he has had surgery, but his foot was shattered, quote-unquote, and he is relearning how to walk. If one has to relearn how to walk, one has to relearn to wrestle. So it'll be interesting to see what sort of timetable we get with CM Punk here in the upcoming weeks. PW Insider reports a huge fallout between Nick Aldis and Billy Corrigan, who's the owner of NWA. Magma heat, quote-unquote, on Aldis for criticizing Corrigan and his creative direction. Sources told the Wall Street Journal's Ted Mann and Joe, I'm going to slaughter this, Palazzolo, Vince McMahon chose to retire last week after SEC and federal prosecutors launched an investigation into his sexual cover-up Hush Money. This is by no means done and seems to be getting bigger and badder, if that were actually a word, for Vince McMahon as the weeks and months are starting to go by and the allegations are becoming much, much more serious. So serious, in fact, that something drastic had to be done, and we will be covering that in our news section of Round 2 Wrestling, which is actually starting right now. Vince McMahon, owner and former CEO of WWE, announces his retirement effective immediately, with Paul Triple H Levesque stepping in as the head of WWE Creative. His daughter Stephanie McMahon and Nick Khan are also the top dogs in the company now that Vince McMahon has stepped aside. With Vince McMahon out as owner/CEO of WWE, Nick Khan and Stephanie McMahon are serving as co-CEOs. Paul Heyman is possibly going to be stepping into that role and is gaining power on WWE Creative with Triple H in control. This is an interesting story, because there are a lot of players here who are power hungry and making some very interesting moves. It's also noted that the company, meaning WWE, may also be up for sale, but I find this hard to believe, although when Vince McMahon announced his retirement, the stock price for WWE actually went up. So this is not entirely out of the books, but at the same time, I find it hard for the McMahons and Levesque and Heyman and everybody else who's invested in this promotion to sell it, unless the accusations that are up against McMahon somehow bleed over to the rest of the promotion. But like we like to say here on Round 2 Wrestling, only time will tell. Ring of Honor wrestler Jonathan Gresham talks with AEW owner Tony Khan, and those talks broke down. Gresham was upset at AEW's lack of communication/character direction for the Octopus. Gresham reportedly has asked for his release from Ring of Honor. PW Insider and Wrestling Observer Live said the upcoming HBO sports documentary about Vince McMahon is real, quote, damning, end quote, and does not look good for Vince in the long run. According to Fightful Select, last week was Impact Tag Champions the Good Brothers' final week of their contract. No long-term offer extended by Impact. The Good Brothers are heavily involved with New Japan Pro Wrestling and LPWG promotions at the time of this broadcast. PW Insider reports NWA will officially announce new titles this week on NWA Power. The new titles in question will be NWA Women's TV title, designed by belt maker Dave Milliken. Alright, that is it. So you've got some news to talk about and think about for the next week, especially that bombshell of Vince McMahon stepping down as owner and CEO of WWE. Be sure to tune in to Round 2 Wrestling next week, as I'm sure there will be an update on that particular story with which I can share with you. All right, moving on to our third portion of Round 2 Wrestling, we have the results from this past week/weekend. There was a pay-per-view. Ring of Honor held Death Before Dishonor on Saturday, and it was a pretty good pay-per-view. There were 6 title matches on that card, and we have the results of those matches, as well as a Impact match and an NXT match, and we will give you those results here in just a minute. NXT UK Tag Champions Brooks Jensen and Josh Briggs defeated Pretty Deadly to retain the titles. FTW Champion Ricky Starks defeated Cole Carter to retain the FTW Championship. Impact X Division Champion Mike Bailey defeated Cody Deaner to retain the title. Claudio Castagnoli defeated Ring of Honor World Champion Jonathan Gresham and is the new Ring of Honor World Champion. Dalton Castle and the Boys defeated Ring of Honor's 6-man tag champions, The Righteous, to become the new Ring of Honor 6-man tag team champions. Ring of Honor Pure Champion Wheeler Yuta defeated Daniel Garcia to retain the Pure Championship. Ring of Honor Women's Champion Mercedes Martinez defeated Serena Deeb to retain the Ring of Honor Women's Championship. Ring of Honor TV champion Samoa Joe defeated Jay Lethal to retain the TV championship. Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions FTR defeated the Briscoes to retain the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championship. Alright, no more results to talk about. We are going to jump over to the fan favorite, Did You Know? Did You Know is little bits of information and facts about the wrestling world that you may or may not have known about. Did you know, after retiring from WWF, manager Mr. Fuji worked part-time at a movie theater taking tickets in Knoxville, Tennessee? Did you know Bruno Sammartino has a statue of himself in his hometown of Pisferrato, Italy? Did you know manager Sherry Martel was originally booked to manage Ron Simmons in WCW? This idea was scrapped, however, due to the O.J. Simpson murder scandal. Did you know Brandy Rhodes and AEW's Scorpio Sky are real-life cousins? Did you know Glenn Jacobs, the mayor of Knoxville County, faced The Undertaker under several different monikers, including Unabomb, Isaac Yankem, Fake Diesel, and of course, Kane? Did you know R-Truth is the most decorated WWE superstar of all time, passing Raven with 44 title reigns? Did you know Paul Heyman has managed 6 different wrestlers to WWE World titles? Did you know Sting has been featured on every WCW video game ever made? Did you know AEW single title champions Chris Jericho, Jon Moxley, Brody Lee, and Cody Rhodes are all former WWE Intercontinental Champions? Did you know Rey Mysterio is the nephew, not the son, of Rey Mysterio Sr.? Did you know WWF once co-promoted a wrestling event at the Tokyo Dome in Tokyo, Japan back in 1994? The promotions included WWF, FMW, LLPW, and GAEA. This particular card had 23 matches and lasted an incredible 10 hours. All right, that is it for this particular episode of Round 2 Wrestling. I am SlimmDa KID, and I personally want to thank you for tuning in to this podcast. I also want to thank UCW, that is Ultimate Championship Wrestling, for giving me a crack at getting back into the pro wrestling world. If you do not know what this promotion is, you certainly will here in the upcoming month, because we just filmed our very first pay-per-view. That is right. The world, the nation will be able to see the greatness of Ultimate Championship Wrestling in Saginaw, Michigan, live on pay-per-view here August 21st. I will give you the platform on which you can purchase this event when it becomes available here in the upcoming weeks. Once again, I am SlimmDa KID, and I want to thank you for tuning in to this episode of Round 2 Wrestling. Please tune in next week as I bring you more rumors, more news, more results from the world of professional wrestling. Round 2 Wrestling is brought to you by SlimmDa KID and Spreaker.com.